Hi all, this is Dr. J streaming live from Long Island, New York, where the weather is perfectly nice, cold, but perfectly nice, warming up this weekend. So I look forward to temperatures in the 40s for the first time in a long time. Okay, so we have a big agenda. I'm not going to tell you about my day, which I normally do. I'm not going to tell you about the Mets, which I sometimes do. I'm not going to go off on any tangents. I'm not going to talk politics, which I seldom do. I'm not going to talk um, about anything other than stocks. We have 15 stocks to look at, all your requests. They've come in mostly from the Dr. J's market recap, which I did at about 5 o'clock. So I honored every single request. That's why I have so many. Also, a couple from Stock Twits. There was only one I couldn't honor. I couldn't find the symbol ECA. Whoever asked me for that one. Okay. Let's get to the video charts. As always, your own due diligence. My opinions are strictly my own and do not constitute investment advice. Seek an investment advisor before following Dr. J, even though I do have some tremendous ideas. I also have some clunkers. It's your job to differentiate between the tremendously great ideas that I have and the few clunkers that I throw in. You don't want my clunkers. All right, SEEL. Cellulose Therapeutics, up 35 cents on the day, which really doesn't tell the story, does it? As most of you know who have been following me, this is one of the hot biotechs, with also presenting on April 1st at the AACR conference, cancer conference. Let's take a look at the chart. It actually opened, I think it's 6 something on the day. Look at that big red candle. Even though it was up on the day, it closed the gap that it initially opened with and came all the way down to a very meager gain and then sold off even more after hours. I don't know what to say. I mean, there's just been a lot of stocks running, and most of them have been collapsing. I think the only one that's for real, well, I'm not saying this one isn't, but the one that's most likely for real is bpth. The others are imitations. Ryan, it's my pleasure to chart CGC. Okay, so I don't know if you saw that on my screen or not. It was a pop-up from YouTube. Right now we're using Yahoo Finance, which is a Verizon-owned company, Yahoo. Okay, so what do I think it is? Well, this couldn't have an uglier looking candle, so you can't get too excited. But on the other hand, it broke out above the trend line. So what's my feelings for Monday on this one? That's the interesting thing. I would let it come down a bit if I were going to enter it. I think it's got more room on the downside. Does it fill this gap completely? I don't know. It could. That would put it down to the 190 level. I don't think it'll do that. Look for somewhere between at the midpoint of this candle. The high was 344, the low was 230. So $1.14. So figures 60 cents, about 290. 290 might be a good entry point. for Cielos Therapeutics. I think you'd get it. So if you want to buy this one, my idea would be to try to buy it under $3, or maybe $3 even. I think you can get a bargain from the price it closed at. Okay, Trov is another runner. Let's take a look at that chart. It's also giving a presentation, poster presentation at the AACR conference April 1st. What a big red candle that is. That puts the Cielos candle to shame. But it's a similar story. Big red candle finishing near the bottom of the day, looking like it wants to very much fill this gap with at the 420 level. So I think we may very well get a gap fill at 420 on this one. I wouldn't want to purchase it somewhere in between. So if it opens up and continues on up for let's say the first 20 minutes of trading, then I might take a chance on entering. But if it comes down in Never Never Land here, then it looks like it'll have a magnetic attraction to that gap fill area, in my opinion. So if you're looking to go long here, you're looking to wait for the gap to fill, or you're looking to get a good open and up from the open, and then you might feel comfortable. And also maybe even have some pre-market action to the upside. Then I'd feel more comfortable. Pre-market action to the upside, an open followed by a move up from the open, then you go in feeling a little more confident. You don't let it run away from you, but you let it move up 40 cents from the open, something like that. Okay, AFMD. That's what I would do if I'm buying Trove on Monday. It's not something that's high on my shopping list, but I will consider that possibility depending on the pre-market. AFMD, and I will listen to just what I said. If it's up for pre-market, if it opens up, and if it runs from the open, I might jump in. Okay, afmd, let's look at this. They're also presenting. And it's well, it's up a little after hours. Take a look at the picture today. Oh, this obviously doesn't have a very good chart. The support is right in here at the low. 340 would be the support. So if I wanted to enter this thing, I would look for about 343 for an entry point. I mean, there may very well be fundamental reasons to enter this, but it's broken out of its upward channel, and it's broken out of the bottom upward channel. And, you know, it's hard to really like it because it looks like it's starting a downtrend. You could argue this is some kind of a bear flag, but I ain't buying it. So technically, it's not looking too good. I'm going to jump over to the other runner from the AACR conference. We spent a lot of time talking about this one in the recap. Biopath. It too is not going to have a pretty picture. Let's look at this picture. What we have is known as a harami, which is not so good when it comes at the top of a bull run. And I would say we definitely had a bull run on Biopath. So really the picture is that harami sitting nicely inside a big green candle, pointing to further weakness. It looks like very likely this will want to fill the gap as well at 1460. So the worry is that gap fill is coming at 1460. The fundamentals are really great on this one. I don't know the fundamentals on trov and seelos that well, but I do know the trials, the results of the trials that were disclosed already were phenomenal. They'll be presented on the 1st of April. And if it isn't an April Fool's joke, I think that will give it further impetus if they do a good job presenting. In the meanwhile, day traders are going to come in. I could see it going down some more. I'm not happy about that because I bought back those shares that I sold earlier in the day at the end of the day. So personally, I stand to lose if it does slide back to that 1460. But it could. Based on this picture, it definitely could. Or sometimes what happens is you get another inside day. You have a great big candle, great big body, another great big body. There's plenty of room for yet another inside day. That's what I'd be hoping for at this point. Another inside day would automatically mean an up day. So that's possible too. In the long run, I spoke in the recap about it. I am very bullish this particular name. In the short run, could be trouble. Cvna. I keep saying it wrong. The internet car company. Let's take a look. It was up nicely on a down day, not a quarter of 1%, and then after hours, another quarter of 1%. So there's a little Momo going into Monday. Well, we talked about this one a number of times. We said if it takes out this high, it's a go-go stock, 54.98. Well, it's a little ways off. But it's important that it takes out the high of yesterday, which is 52.60. So tomorrow, Monday, if it takes out 52.60, I could see it going up to this 55 resistance area. Now, this is a pretty tough resistance area. It's at least a double top. So this one is challenging. I don't know how you play it. It found support right at the trend line. It actually went slightly below and then came back along with the Dow. I don't know. I mean, it's also coming to a head with, well, this is resistance here. And it's got to get through the close. Where price that it closed at is right at resistance. So it's interesting. It's at one of these critical points where Monday will tell the story. Does it go below the trend line or above this particular resistance line? The resistance is at 49.81, closed at 49.60. So it's right at resistance. Can it break through that, heading to the 50, heading to the high of the day 2 days ago, yesterday? Or does it give back, slip back below this trend line, in which case it would be a sell? A break above this trend line, resistance, it's a buy. A break below this, it's a sell. I guess that's how you got to see it. So let's let the action on Monday tell us. The action today points to it being bullish on Carvana, but it's just unclear. AMD. AMD. This is another one that came back from the depths of despair. I think it hit a low of about 21 to finish with a nice green candle. Let's see what that low was. That low was 21.03. The high was 22.08. So after hours, it closed above the high. It traded above the high. But the high of the day was still lower than the close yesterday. So we lost 7 pennies, I think. The low yesterday was, the close yesterday was 22.08. Yes. So we lost 7 pennies. And even though this is green, it's less, it made a new low and it closed below yesterday's low. So it doesn't violate the trend line that's going down. Let's just draw that in. You can make an argument for this one going down, even though it had a tremendous recovery. So let's see if we can draw this. I'm trying not to cheat, trying to hit the endpoints. Oh, what a trend line. Everything's right on that trend line. Okay, I mean, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days of hugging that trend line, if not outright touching it. Beautiful trend line. And the 50-day turned out to be support right in here. Wow, it's an interesting chart. It's not clear that it broke its downward trend over the last, what I count, 10 days. So while it's a nice green candle, I would be careful. All I can say is I would be careful, I would be hesitant to go long because it's still in that downtrend, even though we turned in a green candle. But the way it turned around was very positive. I don't know. This is another chart where I will say, let the market show you tomorrow. Do we open higher and break away from this trend line with a nice up day, taking out the high of the day before, which was 22.41? That shouldn't be that hard. If it can't do that, then we're still going down. It has to take out 22.41. So if it takes out 22.41 and you want to go long, I guess it's okay. But if it doesn't take out 22.41, I wouldn't go in just yet because it could continue on its merry way in the downward direction. Of course, the stock markets, the markets in general, probably have been weak over the same period. So it is tricky. Let's take a look if the Dow has been weak over 10 days. Dow had a nice comeback at the end of the day. Beautiful comeback. That's why in my recap, I said, just maybe we're done with the market slide. And I'm still feeling that way. That was my initial inclination. I'm still feeling that we probably went down enough, 1,000 points from trough to peak to trough. Let's see this trend line down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing, 10 days down. So it looks like it went down with the market. And if the market turns around positive on Monday, you would expect the same out of AMD. That's how I see it. So a lot depends on the Dow, which just like AMD did not violate its trend line, its downward slope. So this is kind of tricky, isn't it? I think it's tricky. Could draw this. I guess we could draw it. So it's right on top of it, of the downward trend line, as is every other candle in the past 10 days, with the exception of one up day, which was a doji, and another update that was a doji, and a couple of down days that actually gapped open, I guess. So this too is unclear, even though it had a spectacular rebound, and Dr. J feels it's over. It certainly has gone down enough. It could continue on its slide to 24,850. You got that coin? I say heads. What do you say? In other words, I'm not as sure as I felt in the recap. Looking at this chart makes me a little bit hesitant. It has, just like AMD should take out the previous day's high, the Dow should do the same. The Dow should take out 25,645. 25,645. So if the Dow goes up 200 points, then I'm probably convinced that the turnaround has begun. If it goes down, anything goes up, even anything less than that, I'm still not sure. So let's look at Roku. You can never be sure of anything in the stock market. The charts give you some little bit of probabilistic edge, but nothing more than that. So while Roku looks like a monster, a beast from December 4th on, tomorrow could be the beginning of a downward slope that takes you all the way back, and it could retrace once again. That's how fickle the stock market could be. Do I think that's the case? No, because it's over the last number of weeks, it's been just phenomenal. Can we look at the daily? See the picture on the daily? I mean, it's very near, staying with the weekly for a moment, it's very near the all-time high of 77.57. I mean, that's in sight. It takes that out, probably go to 100. I mean, I don't know what caused it to move like that. I'm not a big Roku follower at all, but this is some hell of a move. Beautiful ascending channel, and it broke above the top of it. This is a beautiful looking chart. Very nice. Very nice chart. So there's no reason to think that it's going to do anything but go up, because that's what it's been doing. So I don't know why it would change its mind. It's like, you know, maybe if you own it from the beginning of that run up down on December 24th, and you bought it at the low of $26, and you want to take some profits, nobody would say no. But if you wanted to buy it as an enter right here, that wouldn't be a bad idea either. It looks like it's a go-go. It's green light. Again, I'm very curious what made it run like that. The fundamentals, because it ran way better than any of the, than most tech stocks. Aurora Cannabis, we all know about the pot stocks. A few people asked for this one. So I satisfied several requests with one chart. It has a beautiful ascending trend line, but unfortunately, over the last about 3 weeks, it's trading underneath that, but it's holding its trading range between a high of 842 and a low of $7. So from 7 to 840 has been the trading range, going back all the way to 129, with the exception of one day or 2 days where it just dipped below the lower support line. But $7 looks like good support. Great place to enter if you haven't entered yet would be $7. And a great place to add if you want to add would be $7. Dr. J added today on weakness. I got it towards the lower today. I didn't get it at 733 exactly. I think 740 something, which was not a bad move, I think. Although, you know, within the trading, within this channel, horizontal channel, it does look like the last 3 days it's forming a downward trend line, just like it did over here. So we may very well be heading down to test that $7 level again. A lot depends on the rest of the pot stocks and the market in general. So I know I'm not being very definitive tonight, but I'm telling you that I like Aurora, and if you want to enter, I would wait for a little bit more of a dip. Just like I picked it up today at 740, you probably if you're lucky, you might be able to pick it up at the same price, maybe even lower. CGC. Okay, so CGC, let's take a look at the chart. I bought more of that today as well. I think I own as much CGC in dollars as I do Kronos now, because I added a few times. Today's ad was pretty good. I added towards the bottom of the candle. The low is 43.71. I bought more rather in the 44s. I don't remember exactly. So I did okay on these purchases. Probably made a buck. It closed at 45.40, so I probably made a buck from the time I entered on the new purchase. It was actually a little bit of a scary time to enter. The Dow had been down, everything looked down, but I figured, what the heck? I mean, worst comes to worst, it could have gone all the way down to 41. And that's really where the support is. So I would have bought more then. And if it does happen that it goes down to 42, whatever, I will buy more then. I think it finds support at the 50-day before it goes down to this $42 level. What is the low of the day here? 41.68. So that would be support. Or before that, probably the 50-day would be support. By that time, it would be around $43. So I think support is around $43. Apple, and resistance, of course, is up here, right? High of 51.81 that day. There you have resistance. You also have some resistance up here at 49.86, and you have some resistance up here at 48.90. So resistance is 49 to 52, that area. About 3 points, it's got to get through that. Then it could go ahead and take out its all-time high, or this, I don't know if it's an all-time high. This high at 60 bucks. I think it's gone higher. I don't really, I'm kind of new to the cannabis stocks. Haven't been in on it at the beginning. Wish I was. So I'm not sure exactly what its all-time high is. We could take a quick look. But you know, we have so much to look at. Let's just say that I like this one. There's every reason to own it. One of the reasons to own it is the association with STZ on the big board. What is that, Corona Beer? I think they own 35% of CGC. So that's one of the reasons. Apple. We all have a piece of the apple in our portfolios, whether we own the stock or we own a mutual fund or we own, well, one way or the other. If you own something that tracks the NASDAQ, whatever, the Qs, you're going to own some Apple. And that's why everyone always asks me to chart Apple. True, it dipped below the lower upward trend line, but it finished nicely. So it finished right at support, which was the low of the day here, 172. So it finished right about that support, a little bit over. It had a nice comeback day. It was as low as 169.50. So that's a beautiful comeback. The same thing that I said about some of the other stocks is true. The Apple, it still hasn't violated its downward trend line. So it could be that Friday afternoon was just a head fake, and we continue selling on the Dow, we continue selling on Apple, we continue selling on AMD, we continue selling on, what was the other one that we took? Werner. I hope not. I hope it's really the turnaround I'm looking for. If not, there will be more pain on the Dow. Recall the number 24,850 would be the next stop on the Dow. That is more pain. Anyway, what did the Dow close at again? We'll come right back and do tnxp in a second. The Dow closed at 25,450. To go to 24,850 is 600 points. That's pretty significant drop. So let's hope not. So we're up to this one, tnxp. Oh, another one of those. This is another biotech that tried to run and failed. There have been a few fake out stocks that were up in pre-market and just fell apart. This looks like another one. Look at the selling. I mean, this is volume compared to the normal volume. Huge volume. And most of it was unloading whatever profits people had or taking losses or whatever it was. So most of the selling probably came in, I don't know for sure, but mostly probably came in towards the end of the day. Day traders had to close their positions, et cetera, et cetera. So this too looks like it may want to close the gap. That would bring it back to the $2.18 range. The same thing I said about the others, I'm going to say about this. If it doesn't go below the low of the day and it opens and it continues on up, it's probably a good time to buy. Otherwise, if it goes into this twilight zone area, it looks like it's going to go all the way back to fill the gap. Tandem, the beast. Did it exhibit more beastly-like behavior today? I think so. 64.52, up almost $3 on a very iffy day for most stocks. So this is a nice pop. Didn't I hit full screen? Maybe we're slowing down here. First thing I noticed is down on after hours. You know what that means? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay. Well, what do you know? It hasn't violated its upward trend line. It's a stubborn stock. It closed right on that upward trend line. Very nice. I mean, on the other hand, there's a new trend line going down. So there's an upward trend line and there's a downward trend line, a descending trend line right here. You can see that clearly, right? Whoops. It's good enough. So it's interesting because it's following both. It's following the upward trend line and it's following the descending trend line. Very interesting. So I guess like some of the other stocks, we kind of let it tell us tomorrow, on Monday. If it continues to follow the lower trend line, it'll be a candle like this. If it continues to follow the upper trend line, it'll be a candle like this. So Monday will clarify whether tandem is turned it around and will take out this $70 high, or will continue on down and maybe challenge the low of $60. So somewhere it's somewhere floating around midway, probably between 70 and 60, yep, 64, 62. It's so unclear. It's again a flip of the coin, but the beastly type quality of this one makes me think it's more likely to take out 70 than to drop below 60, because if it drops below 60, there's no support until it fills that gap. So let's hope for those holding tandem, including Dr. J. I think we covered most everything. So what I'm going to do at this point is wrap up my market wrap by saying to all of you, thank you for viewing. I hope you enjoyed tonight's charts. I try to honor all of your requests, but I think I was able to tonight, but sometimes I get overwhelmed. Keep the requests coming in. Keep the comments coming in. Give me those thumbs ups. Tell people about Dr. J, the zany, slightly wacky Dr. J from Long Island, New York, who's only made a few good calls lately, like Tandem, like Biopath. Not going to claim Celos or Trov, but I will claim the other two as being good calls. And I certainly was in them early. Okay, that's it for tonight. Shalom, sayonara, au revoir. Not to mention that I called the Dow perfect. Have a great weekend. Bye.